For the first time since I have been talking Detroit Lions on the internet, the Detroit Lions are headed to the NFL playoffs. It is without a doubt that they're going, in my opinion. I already have it in my head that they're going to win the division. There's no way they lose the division. This is our time. That will guarantee us not only a playoff spot, a playoff game, but hosting a playoff game, something Ford Field has never seen. So to give you some context, under Matthew Stafford, who was drafted in 2009, the Detroit Lions played 3 playoff games, one being in 2011. That was Matthew Stafford's third year. Then the infamous 2014 season that happened in January 2015. And of course, we know about that game. And then we had the last time we appeared in the playoffs, which was the end of Calvin Johnson's career. We went on the road to play the Seattle Seahawks. So in 2011, we went on the road to play the Saints. In 2014, we went to Dallas, and in 2016, we went to Seattle. This is still during the Legion of Boom days. So Ford Field has never hosted a playoff game. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is all about to change. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Poole, keeping me and everyone else who keeps me on all things Detroit Lions. But this is coming from a loyal Lions member. Sweta Patel, she's kind of disappeared a little bit since she's become a wife and mother, but she is very known in the Lions community, like Lion Eyes and Lion Tutu and Lions Mane and those guys. This is an email that she got from the Detroit Lions for loyal members. Says loyal member NFL playoff opt-in. In accordance with NFL league requirements, the Lions have started preparations to host a potential NFL playoff games at Ford Field in January. At this time, it remains undetermined if the Lions will host any NFL playoff games at Ford Field. The maximum number of home playoff games the Lions could host at Ford Field is 3, those being the wild card round. That is if they wind up in seeds 2 through 4, the divisional round, and the NFC Championship game, and they give you the dates. Now, don't forget, wild card weekend is Saturday, Sunday, Monday now, with 2 games being on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. That went into effect last year. Then the divisional round is the very next Saturday and Sunday, and then the NFC Championship game, which both games will be played on Sunday, the 28th. Now, the reason that the Detroit Lions could have 3 playoff games, up to 3, is because obviously if you win the division, that guarantees you a home game. And most of the time, if you're a division winner, if you're seeds 1, 2, or 3, you are going to host a second game. Seeds 4, 5, 6, or 7 could have to go on the road. And then, of course, the NFC title game. Well, we're going to go over this in depth probably tomorrow. I got a video planned for Wednesday. Well, several videos planned. But here is what the Lions, the standings are looking like right now. Now, this is the NFC. Yesterday, we needed a Chiefs win over the Eagles. That would have made things interesting heading into Thanksgiving. The Lions could have won on Thursday and would have had the first seed heading into Sunday, when the Eagles face the Buffalo Bills. So with a Chief win last night on Monday Night Football, a Lions win on Thursday, and an Eagles loss on Sunday, the Lions would head into Week 13, the number 1 seed. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So being number 1 or number 2, number 1 has the bye week. Now they get a free game to the Super Bowl. They also host the lower seed all the way through. So this is why the number 1 seed is so important. You get a first round bye, then you would host the lesser of the seeds left out of the wild card round, and then you would have all games would go through you to get to the Super Bowl, very similar to how the Eagles did it last year. Now at this point, the Lions would be hosting at number 2. They would be hosting the Minnesota Vikings. So let's say they beat the Minnesota Vikings. They will be hosting them. Kirk Cousins is done, so you have Josh Dobbs. They win that game, they would automatically host another game. Now you're going to host the remainder of the teams, right? So let's say the 49ers at being number 3, they beat the Seahawks and the Cowboys beat the Saints. So now going to the divisional round would be the Eagles, Lions, 49ers, and the Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys would go face the Eagles being the lower seed at number 5, and the 49ers would come into Ford Field and then play the Detroit Lions. Now, let's say that the Lions beat the 49ers and the Eagles beat the Cowboys. Then the Lions would go face the Eagles. However, if the Cowboys pull off a shocker, we beat the 49ers, the Cowboys pull off a shocker, and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles on the road, the Lions would then host the NFC wildcard round. So number 2 is not all that bad. I mean, obviously, I would prefer to have number 1 because number 1, you not only have instead of 3 games to get to the Super Bowl, you have to play 2. So if the Detroit Lions do get the first seed, those 3 playoff games will then be cut down to 2, with it being the divisional round and the wild card round. So number 2 is a great place to be. Number 3 and 4, obviously, 4, you just won the division and anybody can really do that. I would say that 1 is preferred. 2 is not a bad runner-up because, again, if you get number 1, you play the lower seed. So you get a free game to the Super Bowl, right? Instead of 2 games or 3 games, you have to play 2. Not only that, you host the lower seed and it goes all the way through you. So you host a divisional round. You host a NFC title game, right? So number 2, you need a little help from the lower seed to upset the first seed. It can happen. Stranger things have happened. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to tell you how I think this thing is going to go. And I'm going to give you a little spoiler. A very familiar face is going to come to Ford Field, and we'll be seeing him when it comes to our first playoff game. I think it's already written in the NFL narrative. But let me know in the comments below, are you a loyal Lions member? Did you get this email? What do you plan to do? I am very curious to know how much those tickets are going to cost. The Thanksgiving Day tickets are selling for hundreds of dollars, probably even thousands, depending on where you're sitting. The first ever Ford Field game hosted, I could not imagine if the Lions were to they're going to get that game no matter what. I think they're going to win it. So I couldn't imagine what that game, the divisional round, would be. And let alone an NFC title game, that would be insane. So very, very interesting times. Again, this is the first time in the 5 years. I've been doing this since 2018, late, almost exactly 5 years. I want to say this month. I started the Thanksgiving loss to the Bears. I think I started really kind of doing podcasting and videos, sit down format. Before that, I was doing live kind of reaction compilations. In 5 years, this is the first time that the Detroit Lions will indeed, there's no doubt about it, host a home playoff game. The first time it's ever happened in the NFL existence. I have some thoughts that I'll save for maybe tomorrow's video, and I'll tell you how I think this thing is going to go in much, much detail. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you saving up? I would love to go to a playoff game, but I'm kind of conflicted because if I go to the game, I can't necessarily share it with you, and I can't afford it, right? But if I do go to a playoff game, it's going to be the first one of its kind at Ford Field, and that is a literal once in a lifetime moment. So let me know in the comments below, which one are you trying to do? And are you excited about the Lions and home playoff games? You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.